Okay, so thanks everyone for joining us for this Zoom BowlsLink Pennant training session. We've got 4 people in today, which is probably good for me because this is the first little training session I've done on Zoom, and hopefully you guys get a little bit out of it. For anyone that did use the Pennant system last year, it hasn't changed too much. There's a few little small changes, but otherwise fairly easy to use and pick up. For anyone new, it's just a matter of learning the processes and going from there. What I'm going to be doing today is using the BowlsLink beta, which is sort of a testing and training system for BowlsLink. You'll know that you're in that because it's got the beta across the top. This is the address up the top here. I will give you some sign-in codes. I'll send them via email for people to use later if you want to practice. And then obviously the real system is, oops, I'll just log out of there, is this BowlsLink system. So what I'll do is I'll sign in, and you should also have an electronic version of this BowlsLink training guide, which I've sent out to everyone. If you don't have that, or let me know and I'll definitely get one sent through to you. I'm pretty much going to be going through that section by section. And on the PDF copy, there is a little video at the end of a lot of the sections, which Kelvin Rogers goes through, similar to what I'm going to do today. So you can use those to sort of refresh your memory if you get stuck. Of course, you can always contact me in the office, and I can help you out as well. So when you come into BowlsLink, you do need to come in through your club, My Club's profile, so your personal profile. This is just a made up one in the training system for me. If you are a club administrator, you may have more than one profile. You might have your club administration profile as well. Make sure when you're going to do results or put in teams that you select your My Club's profile. You can change profiles up the top here, next to where it says your club name, by selecting the arrow, and always select underneath where it says My Clubs. The competitions should always be the last tab on the left. That also gives you a good indication if you're in the right section. So once we've logged into BowlsLink, we then just click on competitions. Now, depending on your club and where you are, you may see a number of competitions down the left-hand side here, and some teams. If you're only a small club with a few teams, you'll probably only see a couple of team names there. You may see a lot more if you're at a bigger club. I've just got to move my list of people to the bottom, so it's blocking my buttons a bit. So what we're going to do is to log into an actual competition. This fourth one here I've set up for everyone today. It's called 2020 Zoom Training Comp 1. So after this session, I'll give you some logins and you'll be able to access this competition. We just click the little actions button, so it's a little spanner. That's changed from last year. Last year it was three little dots. People found that a bit hard to find sometimes. We do prefer people use Google Chrome, definitely not Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer has an issue where it pushes this way off to the right and you'd have to scroll across. So it is there on the right. You have 2 options here, and the majority of time you'll be selecting Manage Results to take you through to your Pennant game. So this is effectively where your fixtures will be listed. And obviously at the start of the season, you'll see a whole heap of rounds worth of fixtures in here. I'm using WA Club 7 in the training system. So these effectively would be the WA Club 7 games. Don't worry if you see a little 0 in brackets in any of them. That just means I've been in there previously, or someone else has been in there previously. Sometimes the away club might, or the other club may do something before you go in. So what I'm going to do is come over to the actions button. You only have one option here, and that's to view the results. Don't get put off by that term. It just means it's going to take you into that actual match. So when we click that, you'll now see the match that you're going to put your teams in for. So it'll have the date across the top here and the two clubs that are playing each other. Again, this is a training system, so it just says WA Club 7 versus WA Club 26. In real life, it'll say something like Mandurah versus Dudley Park, for example, whoever's in your league. So what we have to do first is obviously select our players. Now, in this case, the other club's already come in and put them in. That may or may not happen. It doesn't really have any effect on what you need to do. We just use this blue button, select team, and that pushes in from the right the ability for you to select your lead, your second, your third, and your skip for your side. When you do this definitely in the first week, and you may need to import some people in the second, third, or fourth week, especially anyone new to your club, you do need to use this blue button, and they need to be brought in from your members list. So when I click it, it's asking to import a club member into this team. So if you have more than one Pennant team, you might have a first division, a second division, a third division, for example. If players switch between teams, get dropped or promoted, you will need to import them into the second or third team, depending on where they move. But when we click on the little arrow, this will then give you a list of all your members. What you'll notice is that they're in no particular order. It's quite random. However, you can type, and when you start typing, it will shortcut and find people that match. So I've typed D and E. It's picked up Deborah and the end bit of Jade. So you can type first name or last name. So if we did HY, it's going to find Deborah Hyde for me. That's a little trick to save you scrolling through potentially hundreds of members. So once we find the person we want, we're importing for a lead here in the first rank. We just click import. They've now taken that slot in the team, and they are also part of this list. And at the moment, it's quite a short list because only myself and Deborah have been imported into the team. So what I'll go through and do is just pick some more people randomly. Obviously, you'd normally pick whoever's been selected for this particular team. What you'll notice is that you do have men and women available. But the important thing about this is that these people do need to be in your members list. So your club secretary or your BowlsLink administrator, whoever's responsible at your club, will have needed to add these people to your database. They will also have to have what's called playing rights, which is the green dot for anyone that's been in the members area. They'll have to have that attached to their record. So they'll have to be a full member or a playing bowler at your club. If they're a social member and don't have playing rights, or they haven't been added into your members list, they won't appear through this blue button. So if someone's not there, go see your club secretary or a BowlsLink administrator. So we'll click save. Now we'll do the second rank. Again, I'm just going to pick some random people from my training list and import them in. And I've got another team. Remember just to save that. Otherwise, you'll have to go back and do it again, so they won't come through. And a couple more people. Okay. Doors. So this is my last rink. Once I've clicked save and the other teams also got their players in, what you'll notice is that this button now has changed from select team to update results, because the system's expecting now that the teams are in that someone will start putting in results. If for any reason you have to make a change, we do recommend clubs put their players in obviously before the game. Some clubs like to do it days in advance. Others do it the night before the game. Some do it the morning of the game. That's your club's decision, but as long as you get them in beforehand, that's the main thing. If you do have a change, we'll use, let's say Mervyn Burgess got sick and we had to replace him before the game. You can't do it obviously with this button anymore. You have to come into this actions button and select manage teams here. And then we could import somebody else. And that person, oh, it's just going slow on me. There he goes. He's replaced Mervyn into the second spot. If for example, two players wanted to switch positions or they were inputted wrong, you can do that. Let's put Rob Hancock here. Let's find him from the list. There he is. What you'll notice now is that it's actually removed him from the skip spot, and then we'd put John O'Brien in here. You can also type in here and find them easier as well. After a while, you'll get quite a few players in here. Actually, that must have been the wrong person. I'll bring somebody else in. We'll save that. All right. So again, you do this obviously before the game. Now let's assume that we've played the match. Obviously, your managers would shuffle the cards, and everyone will go out and play their game. You'd fill in your pennant result sheet, and then someone would be responsible to enter the results into BowlsLink. So you'd log in, you'd come through to this screen again. I won't repeat that, but you come back here. Again, the home team is responsible for putting in the scores. And what you need to look at is that the actual skip listed here played the right person, because there's a good chance that perhaps they actually played either Peter or Barbara in this case. So they may have played someone else. It's unlikely that it would line up exactly with how things were in the system. So we need to realign these three skips to make sure they match with the home skips. We do that through the button again on the right. We have this ability to swap the away teams. So when we click that, again, it comes in from the right-hand side, and we can select one of the other two skips. So if it was a 2-rink game, you'd obviously only have the other skip. If it was a 4-rink game, you'd have 3 alternatives. In this case, we've got a 3-rink game, so there's just the 2 others. Let's assume that Peter was the skip that John played against. We select him, and then we click swap. And what you'll notice is that entire rink of Peter's, which was here, has now moved up to here. And Marjorie's team, which was up here, has now moved down here. So they've swapped over. If it happened to have been the 3rd rink we swapped, you may have to look at the 2nd skip to make sure that they were aligned correctly. Again, if they weren't, you could click the swap away teams, and you could select the other skip and swap them again. So you do need to make sure you get the skips aligned before you start putting the scores in. It's something that last year a lot of people forgot to do. And then once they've put the scores in and finalised them, they're locked out, so they couldn't actually alter them back, which meant that they normally had to send the sheets through to Bowls WA, and someone in our office had to fix that up, which is not a problem. We expect the occasional mistake. It's just better if people get it right the first time. So what we'll do now is put in some scores. So it's just a matter of making sure, again, you look on your Pennant result sheet for that skip and their opposition and enter that score. I'm just going to make some scores up. So let's go for a 21-all draw. What we'll notice is that once we put that score in, it's allocated half a point each for a rink. This is based on the settings in the system. So if your Pennant League has a different scoring system, that can be adjusted. We'll put in some more results. So 25-21. This case, it's given the point to the home side. And finally, we'll put in another score. This time the away team won. So that adds up all the scores, 67-64, and the points 4.5 to 1.5. Again, if your Pennant comp has a different scoring system, we've got a few country people here, it would allocate the points based on whatever your league rules are. Then down the bottom here, it does a little tally. So these are the total points, the rink points, the aggregate points, whether they've how many rinks have won, and the shots. And then you've got this finalize button. Make sure that you click that. Once that's clicked, that score's effectively locked in, and it'll be uploaded onto the website. It's pretty much instantaneous, so people can see it. In the majority of competitions in WA, that's all that needs to be done. The away team just needs to have a look at these results. They can do that in the competition display area, so the website, or they can log in here and have a look themselves. But the away team has no ability to change that or confirm that. We do have a confirm section in the book, in the little training guide, confirming the results, but that's only for a limited number of competitions in WA that the league's requested that the away team be able to confirm. Definitely in the metro area, we don't ask the away team to confirm. I'm just going to turn my phone down. If the scores are wrong, or there's players out of position or incorrect players, send the Pennant result sheet through to Bowls WA's office, scan it or email it or fax it. As long as it gets through to our office, then we can correct any errors with the scores. All right. No one's got any questions? Has anyone got any questions or want to go through any of that again? Yep. You got one hands, or you're happy? Just unmute yourself if you have. No, we're all good. All right, so I'll move on. So let's assume now that we've had that game, we've had a little win. We've logged back out. Now I'll actually log out. Now we're going to come into BowlsLink again for week 2's competition. Oop, password's wrong. Let me just log back in. And go back to Club 7. So we're back in the system again. We come through to manage our results and view results. So this time we're up to round 2 of competition. Now what you'll notice is all our players have disappeared. We're the away team now, so they've all disappeared on us. So we need to enter them again. Now the good news is you don't have to go through here and select them all. There's a little shortcut where you can use this button right at the top. So it's aligned up to the date. and you've got the ability to import teams. When we click that, it'll ask us for a date from which our teams have been loaded. You generally choose the week before and click import teams. Now what you'll see is that those 3 rinks from the previous week have all come into the system for us. So that's going to save us a lot of time. Hopefully the selectors haven't made too many changes, but if they have made the odd change or only 1 or 2 people are available, you can click select team and change or bring in a new person. So in this case, Vicky was unavailable and we had to bring in Gordon. Then we click save. So that import teams button up the top here, that is going to save you a lot of time after you've gone through weeks 1's worth of importing them. You may have to make the odd 1 or 2, 3 changes, hopefully not too many more. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go back in again, and I'm going to pick round 3 this time. Oop, I just missed it. So again, I'm going to import my teams. Choose the previous week and bring them in. So this is for round 3. Now let's assume that in this match, the game started, we played a few ends, and there was a torrential downpour, and the greens were flooded, and we weren't able to complete our match. So the match was washed out. So it was abandoned. What we'd need to do is register this in the system, and obviously both teams would get equal points for an abandoned game. So you do that again. Only the home team can do this. Enter the result by using the actions button in the top right. And you mark the game as unplayed. And it will ask you for a reason. So we might say washout at 2:35 p.m. You may have a heat out. If your league has a heat rule, we definitely do in the metro area. So that could be another reason why the match became unplayed. We click OK. And then it just puts in that it was unplayed and the reason. So whatever you've typed in there. And at the bottom, it's going to give 3 points to both teams. And again, don't forget to finalize the result. So that's probably not going to be a common occurrence, but it may happen, once or twice during the year, where you may have to come in and do an unplayed result. What I'll do now is look at another rare one, and that is forfeit. So this time I'm going to come into week 4. Again, I'll import my teams from previous week. Now what you'll notice is WA Club 19, they've put in their teams, but they've actually got some unplayed people here. You can, just to show you how you do that, if you go into manage teams and use your list, right down the bottom you have unplayed. It's the second last one. There's also substitute. In the metro area, we don't allow substitutes. I think some country leagues may allow people from other clubs to fill in. But if you do have to play short, select unplayed. You just save it as normal. So fill there. But back to this match. So we noticed WA Club 19, they've got an unplayed and unplayed, and they've got 2 unplayed. So they've tried to put their teams in, but then they may have given up the fact that they can't actually field a side, and they've decided they have to forfeit. So they've contacted your club, which in this case would be WA Club 7, and said, we're going to have to forfeit. So you need to come in as the home club and enter the result. If you're the home club and you forfeit to the opposition, you'll still need to do this as well. It's always the home club that puts the score in. And then we have this option here to forfeit the match. So we click that. And then it's going to ask me which team is forfeiting. So in this case, it was the opposition. It could be you. But I'll select the other team, WA Club 19, click OK. What you'll notice now is that the other team's players have all been removed and your team's players have actually stayed in the system. This is because for finals eligibility, these players would count as having a match because they did try and front to play, but this club's players wouldn't count because they weren't able to field a side. So
Aaron, a question. So they can't just forfeit one rink and play the other two?
No, not under the laws of the sport.
Right, thank you.
Yep. And then it will allocate points. 3. That should actually say 6. I must have configured it wrong. And then you'd finalize. Again, it just says forfeit. So that would allocate the correct number of points to that team. So that's pretty much the 3 type of results you do. Hopefully 99% of the time it's the scores, and occasionally it might be a washout or a heat out or a forfeit. All right, done those. So what I'm going to look at now is the ability to add team managers. With your competitions, the people that have access to entering the results are club administrators. They will have access to every team. Anyone who's a pennant contact, for the country clubs, I'm listed as a pennant contact because we didn't know them. But for the metro clubs, it'll be your pennant contact that was listed on the pennant sheet that we sent out to everyone. However, clubs can, through their club administrator or through a pennant contact, assign other people to be managers. The way we do this is, again, we come to our competition and the team that we want to add a manager for. Instead of managing results, we go to manage entry. This is something that's new. We didn't have this ability last year. So it's something that's good for clubs because often the same person can't manage the team because they might be sick or unavailable. So you may want a couple of people to do it. So let's assume in this case, I've been the manager, but I'm not in this team anymore. I've been dropped or promoted, or I'm unavailable, and we need to make Greg Regan have the ability to sign in. So from your list of players, we click edit. Just close that one up. We'd go down our list and find Greg. Here he is here. This little arrow on the far right, click that to open up some information. And under permissions, we have this ability, allow player to manage this entry. And we can tick that and make sure you save it. So now that's giving Greg the ability to log into BowlsLink. The competition will show for him and he can go in the same way that we did in the training, and he can enter players and results for this team only. So if you did have, multiple teams, you would need to do that on multiple occasions, potentially for the same person or for different people. If you have someone who's not on this list to be the team manager, sometimes clubs have people that'll do multiple teams. You can add them as a player. So that very last button. And the best way to do this is to link the member up the top. So don't worry about all this information they ask for. Just click link and make sure you have their national ID number. Your secretary should be able to give that to you. And you'll normally only have one option here. I've used Clive Adams because I know he's in the system. He's got a few clubs in the training system, but we select him and then click on allow player to manage this entry and click save. So that's how you can bring someone into the side. You can have as many people as you want be your team manager. So you may have 2 or 3 people sharing that responsibility, and you can assign them. So if I wanted to assign Robert Gould as well, come in, click that on, click save. You can also remove that ability. If they just did it for a couple of weeks, you can remove it and click save again. So that gives clubs a bit of flexibility in being able to control who their team managers are. It is important to know that they obviously need to be able to log in. So they do need to have an email address in the system in Bowlslink. Again, check with your club secretary. And they will need to generate a password, which I'll just show you how to do that. The best way for someone to generate a password is by doing a reset here. And it will ask you for an email address. So you put in your email, or the person would put in their email address and click recover password. They will get an email, an automatic one, asking them to click a link, and then they'll be able to generate a new password, and that's what they can use to log in. They do have to have a capital letter and a number as part of that password. All right.
Aaron?
Yep.
Kerry Adams here. My husband and I only have one email address. Will that cause a problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
The way to get around that is to use your national ID number in here. So you do have 3 ways of logging in: email address, mobile phone, and national ID.
Right. Okay.
And the problem will be that I will probably have to set up a password to start with because you won't be able to reset it.
That's okay. I'll get someone else.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So that's pretty much the training. Just going back in. So I do have in this Zoom training, I do have a number of other clubs which I can assign people to. If you do want to have a practice yourself in this training system, and you can't obviously do any damage in here, you can add as many players and muck around with it as much as you want. If you want to have a practice, I can set that up straight after this Zoom meeting. So is that something people are interested in having a play with?
Yes, please.
Okay.
No. But another question, Aaron. When are the Pennant teams going to be input for Tuesday?
Yep. When is your first game? Next Tuesday?
Yes.
All right. I'll get that done by the end of tomorrow. We're a bit behind.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But,
okay. Thank you.
I think the other leagues. Pretty sure, Shelley, your league's up and going. I'm not sure about yours, Trixie, but I'll check it out. We should have all the country ones up within the next 5 days, and the metro ones for you hands, they'll be up by the end of next week. So we're just about to start putting all those ones in as well.
Aaron, this is Trixie, our first Pennant match is on Saturday.
Okay. I'll make sure yours are definitely up then as well.
Super, thank you.
Okay. Otherwise, I hope you've all enjoyed the training session and got a little bit out of it and got a better understanding of what needs to happen. We are fairly lenient. This is more with the metro clubs on clubs making errors and things like that. But we will send out notices if something's not done right or it's completely forgotten. And we'll be lenient unless a club does the same thing wrong multiple times, then we start getting a bit more upset about it. But hope you all have a good pennant season. And again, if you need any further help, happy to provide it. What we might do is just watch one of those training videos which I talked about. Just get a link up.
Aaron, I might leave you there because I watched them all this morning.
Oh, you've already watched them. Okay.
I have.
Not a
Yeah.
problem.
Okay. Thank
See
you
ya.
very much. Bye.
Bye. So I'm just going to play one of these videos for everyone else. Hopefully this works.
There's no sound coming through from the video, Aaron.
Ah, okay. I've got to work out how to fix that. There we go. This might be better.
We're going to look at putting
Hear it now?
in pennant teams. So selecting your pennant team for the weekend and putting them into
Yes, we can.
So the first thing I'm going to do is to log into my profile within Bowlslink itself. And I'm going to select my club profile because that's where I can access and manage my competitions from. And I can do that over here on the left hand side where I have my competitions menu. I will find the competition, there'll be my team name, the competition name. I may be responsible for putting results in for more than one team. I just need to select the correct one that I'm putting in at the moment. And I can go to manage results. What I'll see is a list of games. We're looking at round 5 here. And what I'll do is when I can go to view results. And from here, what I can do is select my teams. So using the big blue select team button, what I can do is bring up that rank, and if I want to add members, so if it's the first time that I'm doing it, I need to use the blue button on the right hand side here, and what that will do is bring me up a list of all of my club members that I can pick to play in here. Now the list is not alphabetical, but if I start to type, I can bring up anyone with those letter combinations. So I'm going to put John in here for today, and I'm going to import him. Once he's imported, he will always appear in my list. And if I have other people in my lists, like I do here, then I can work my way down the list, and then I can save them. And all I need to do is to go through for each just showing you that I can change people quite simply, quite easily. All I need to do for this is to go through and select the players from my club that will be playing in that team in that game for the day. Now I can also start to type letters in there, and that will also return me a select list from the list of people that are already allocated to this squad. And what I can do is I can save that. Once I've saved those teams and I'm happy with them, I can then log out. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so that was just one of the examples of the training videos. There are a few of those, and they're all at the bottom of each one of those sections. So if you do have trouble remembering, and we don't expect everyone to remember it the first time, it's not going to happen. Yeah, you can watch those, or you can just run through on that sheet. All right. Unless anyone's got any last minute questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll end the meeting, and I'll thank everyone for attending, and wish you all the best for the pennant season.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
All right.